This is for SLMA Live. This is our broadcasting station where we allow you to create podcast shows, whether they're audio or video. This little video is going to teach you how to use some of your podcast channel content, especially when it starts out as audio only. Hi, welcome to SLMA Live. We're here to show you what you need to do before you have a show and what you should do after you have a show to best make use of the fabulous content you're creating through our system. So first, let's talk about how your feed can be used from your site. Once you've created something, what happens to that feed? Well, it's really great. You can get your feed from your broadcast site, and then you push that one out. And through that, it can be set up to be part of a custom iTunes podcast channel. You can get subscribers, and more people will find you on iTunes. Another thing you can do with those, once you have your feed, you can also automatically push it out to LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Great ways to repurpose it without a lot of effort. So now let's keep going. What if you want to take your audio show and convert it into an MP4 file that you can play on YouTube? You can create it with just a few graphics if you want and keep it simple, and turn an audio file into a video that gives you countless possibilities of what to do next. So then what do? Well, if it's a YouTube video, you can add visuals, insert other movies, animations while you're editing it. You can add URLs and make sure everybody knows how to find you afterwards in your own commercials. You can annotate it. That's a whole nother topic. You can also upload it as another podcast to your podcast channel to be pushed again to iTunes. And you can insert it into your blog post to add more visual interest. But here are 10 things you should do before your broadcast recording after you have your topic. First, you want to create a graphic for the podcast that promotes your show and your episode. This gets used in the podcast channel. It's like a little poster that gets seen when you embed a player and when people tune into your podcast. That's if you just have audio. This can also be used as your first slide if you convert it into video. From there, you're going to want to do even more. You're going to want to create a blog post promoting the show. I highly suggest creating an event on Google Plus, because when you do that, it indexes it even more and links back to your podcast site. You can also post it either manually or through aggregation tools to push it to LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter with custom things such as hashtags and mentions and keywords and phrases that you want to use that will speak to that audience in those venues. You want to make sure you don't miss where your folks hang out, whether it's your customer, potential new customers, or your strategic partners, and especially your guest. And what else can we do? Let's see. Another thing to do after you get that pushed out to all these places and mentioned is you're going to want to get the links for the show to your guest. They should be helping you promote the show as well to all of their lists and venues. Make sure that when you're on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and Google Plus, that you've connected with your guests so that you can plus mention them and they know that you're excited about having them on. They'll be sure to respond to you, plus mention and favorite, and all of this helps you rise up higher in the search engines and helps people find you better. Now, another big thing I suggest is to create a trailer or a teaser for the show. What if you know the basic points you're going to cover? What if your guest has a huge following? It would make a lot of sense for you just to create a quick audio file or even a quick YouTube file, and I can teach you how to do that, of what's coming up on your show. Get people excited. Hey, you don't want to miss this show. And you can add that to one more post, driving people to your podcast site, and to give you more opportunities to mention to your guest, link to the real show post, and to build more excitement and more buzz for your event. So then you want to go back and make sure you add that teaser file to your original podcast post, because you don't have a podcast yet for that one, but it at least gets people excited to know what's coming up. And if you did it as a video, add it to your YouTube channel. Or if you did it as just an audio file, turn it into a video. Add a custom thumbnail to hype your show. And in the description, make sure that you mention the link to the real to the real podcast site, so people can listen to it live or listen to the replay. Doesn't hurt to also give a link to your iTunes podcast channel, because then they can get that added into the things they regularly listen to. And if you created a Google Plus event, put the link in there too, and give your guests the link to the file as well as the embed code so they can promote it with the teaser. So let's talk about what to do after you've recorded your show. Here we go. On your promo post, be sure to attach the final show file. If you created a teaser post, do the same in that post. And if you post it to YouTube, add the link in the description to the real end show. Then make sure you've addressed all comments and questions. Be polite. Make sure you answer them. Thank your guests on social media with plus mentions, including a link to the show in bit.ly form, and send them the embed code so they can add it to their sites. If you're converting to YouTube, be sure to create a custom thumbnail. We talked about that earlier. You want it to look good so it isn't that odd photo of you with your eyes crossed or whatever. And expand all your descriptions of the show after you know what was really covered. Add those keywords and phrases. Give them some nuggets. People get excited to know what were the highlights and why should they have to listen to your show. Did you order a transcript? If you did and you got it back, this is a great way to timestamp your show. Using this typical hour, minute, second format with colons in between, it gives you better indexing and is more helpful for your listeners and viewers. People really like to know where the highlights are. And if there was some great quote in the middle, make sure you insert that too. Send the transcript to your guest. Encourage them to post. And include the show image or banner too, either the banner you used on Google Plus or the show graphic that you used for the podcast, or even the custom thumbnail you used on YouTube. Make it easy for them to promote the show they were just on. Use the transcript to pull out nuggets from the show. Create graphics from the nuggets for Pinterest and blog posts. Send them to the guest if you cite it as a quote from them. If you post it to Google Plus, make sure to go into the description and plus mention them again. Talk about the show. Put a link to the show in there to encourage more people to listen. Put the link to subscribe to your podcast channel as well. Don't miss an opportunity to get people to subscribe to your content. And if you had comments, make sure to post a thank you, mentioning those folks who commented. You know, they take the time to listen, they take the time to write a comment. It's very polite to do that. It also makes them want to come back, listen more, and share more things on their own timelines. And don't forget to make sure you have a graphic in all your posts. Did you remember to post it to LinkedIn too? And just reminding you, don't forget to make sure that you are connected to your guests. You might think you are, but maybe you're just following their company or vice versa. Make sure you have both covered. So when you plus mention everybody, it goes into their notifications and they're apt to reply, and everybody gets more opportunities to find out about your great show and to come back and visit and or subscribe. Slice and dice the broadcast. Maybe there's some really great nuggets in there that you want to make sure you can insert into other areas of your site, or use it with some other graphics to create small videos or commercials even to promote your show or for your guests, and you can send it to them later because they'll keep using your content the more that you give them. Make it easy. I think this covers just about everything. If you have any other questions, just contact producer@slmalive.com. We'll be sure to answer your questions, and we probably have even more ideas on how you can use your great podcast content.